Hello, I'm KM, an associate professor in the School of Life Sciences, Chinese University. Here, in this video, is the first one for 3 videos on pesticides and trace organics for biochemistry and public health. In this video, we look into pesticides and their toxic effects. The second video is on trace organics, their receptors, toxic effects, and risk management. The third video, we discuss some modern toxic substances, like those chemicals from electronic waste, brominated compounds, plastic materials, etc. as emerging issues. Firstly, the sources of the trace organics and pesticides could be from anthropogenic source as we make them or manufacturing them as products or byproducts, like the Agent Orange as byproduct of chlorinated chemicals. Secondly, they come out from combustion or industrial processes, including waste incineration and fossil fuel combustion. Eventually, all these trace organics could be accumulated in biological organisms and get into the food chains, and have biomagnification effects via different trophic levels and get to our dining table as dairy products like meat, milk, and egg. The United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, first announced the 12 POPs, persistent organic pollutants, to be aware. 9 of them are pesticides, or chlorinated pesticides: aldrin, codeine, DDT, heptacol, hexachlorobenzene HCB, HCB and PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, as industrial chemicals, and also unwanted byproducts PCDD and PCDFs, or dioxins and furans. These 12 POPs are organic compounds that are persistent, very stable for decades, and could be accumulated in food chains with biomagnification effects. Presence in high concentrations in foods to affect our health with chronic diseases or even cancer. This video reviews our general understanding of pesticides and their harmful effects. Pesticides are those chemicals, including herbicides, fungicides, intended to control pests, in a larger sense, intended for preventing, destroying, repelling, or mitigating pests. They are mainly for agricultural use and household usages. Some are for wood preservation, anti-fouling, and we use them as they could avoid other diseases and increase crop production. They protect public health to kill pests, but if misused or overused, they could be harmful to all animals and humans. There are 5 types or classes of pesticides. The first one is organochlorines, which inhibit sodium channel, and they are POPs, persistent organic pollutants. Second type is organophosphate, OP. The second generation of pesticide to replace organochlorines. The third type is carbamates. And the second and third types inhibit an enzyme called acetylcholine esterase, either irreversibly for OP or reversibly for carbamates. Pyrethroids pesticides also inhibit sodium channel, is the fourth type, and the last group is juvenile hormone analog or mimics. Organochlorine pesticides or OC pesticides resist degradations. They all have very long half-life and show biomagnification effects in food chains or food webs. They are neurotoxic as they inhibit sodium channel. They can have endocrine disrupting effects even in low concentration or a trace amount as environmental estrogens. DDT, dichlorodiphenotrichloroethane, is the most well-studied OC or the eldest one. Also brought much public awareness. Rachel Carson even published a book on this, leading to the establishment of USCPA, the first of its kind in the world, back to 1960s. Later on, DDT was banned in the 70s, and it was found to damage wildlife, especially famous on its toxic effects on eggshell thinning in American eagle born in the wild. DDT could be metabolized to form DDE, causing chronic effects in internal organs, affecting immune system, but it is not any carcinogen. It is confirmed to be endocrine disruptors or even linked to neurological damages in children, and so transgeneration effects. Now there's an MCQ, which item below is not the properties or potential biological effects of DDT. A. Accumulation in tissues. B. Bind to DNA. C. Chronic effects on internal organs in animals. D. Degradable or degradable in water and soil. Isogenic. E. The answer is D, as the OC pesticides are stable and persistent, so they are not readily degradable in water and soil. Okay. Organophosphate compounds, most of them are insecticides. They developed in the early 19th century. They degrade rapidly by hydrolysis on exposure to sunlight, air, and soil, and therefore they are not persistent in the environment. This ability makes them an alternative to the persistent OC pesticides, and thus OP or organophosphates are the second class or groups of pesticides. For example, dicarbos and parathon, they have phosphate group and can inhibit an enzyme in the nervous system known as acetylcholine esterase, ACHE. Despite the OP pesticides are not persistent, they could be very toxic. Look at this case of toxic Chinese dumpling sent to Japan but intoxicated by a patriotic Chinese in 2008. Because OP pesticides could be found with residual levels in vegetables, it is now required on OP contamination in many food or for routine inspection. Similar to OP, carbamate also inhibits acetylcholine esterase, ACHE, in the nervous system. However, the carbamylation of the enzyme is unstable, and the regeneration of ACHE is relatively rapid compared with that from a phosphorylated enzyme. It is believed that carbamate pesticides are less dangerous with regard to human exposure than organophosphorus pesticides. For example, eldercrab is widely used to control mites, nematodes, and aphids. Million pounds of these chemicals used in the US. It inactivates ACHE reversibly despite not any mutagen or carcinogen. It is highly toxic to other aquatic species in waters and could suppress immune system in vertebrates. Because many chrysanthemum flowers could repel insects, parasites such as cypermethrin and tetramethyl are synthesized and commonly used to replace OC or OP pesticides. They are also highly toxic to aquatic species as a synergist called hyperonyl butoxide is added. This formula could be toxic to liver enzymes and not good for our health. We should avoid inhaling parathoid pesticides, which are commonly used in mosquito coils. The last or fifth class of pesticides are those what we call them juvenile hormone JH mimics, as they are analogs of juvenile hormone working as antagonists. For instance, methylpane is such JH analog similar to the structure of juvenile hormone 3. In insects, methylpane could inhibit JH actions on insect metamorphosis and hence inhibit adult forming from pupa or larvae. However, they could affect our other aquatic species like shrimps or lobsters, which also have similar JH functioning in the growth in waters. In summary, we have reviewed the 5 major classes of pesticides, from organochlorines, organophosphate, carbamate, pyrethroid, to juvenile hormone analogs, which may be safer than the first and second generations of pesticides, which are basically neurotoxic. There are guidelines and regulations of using these pesticides. We have to minimize the risk of these chemicals and maximize the benefits of using them to remove the harmful effects of insects on us, especially for mosquito controls, as mosquitoes also bring other viruses to attack us. Using OC is still a common practice in many developing countries with tight regulations.